You're live on the cloud. Now what? The journey is just beginning. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm really pleased to be joined today by Christina Catano, a member of our Oracle Cloud HCM team. Christina, thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
So today we are focusing on release notes and the analysis and assessment of all those great features and functions that come with every single quarterly update. So Christina, maybe you could touch on first some tips, tricks, strategies that you employ for many of our clients as you help them understand the release notes that are part of each quarterly update.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's super important. So the biggest thing, truly every time the release notes come out, it can be super overwhelming. You see a ton of updates that come through. So the first kind of strategy or thing that we tackle with release notes is what's even in scope. So for example, we see things that have to do with succession planning or talent review. But right now we're only doing annual performance reviews. So we actually don't even have to worry about reading over those. We know they're not going to impact us versus things in global human resources and core HR. We've got core HR in scope. We want to take a look at those updates that are coming through. Another big thing is really just the keywords to look out for. So a strategy that we take when we review the notes are looking out for words like feature deprecated, which means that a feature that existed today is actually either going away or it's potentially being renamed or it's being replaced. That's something that our current live clients really do have to worry about, because if they're currently looking for something that says transfer and it switches to the name global transfer, it might actually confuse the end users, and it's something that we would communicate to our clients to also communicate to their end users. So just knowing those words to look out for and like essentially changes that are really common in the release notes, and to tackle those first and know which ones are going to be most impactful.
Right, as you said, there can be such a overwhelming amount of documentation. So having some keywords, some things to really look out for to help you refine what you're looking at can be really helpful. So once we understand what's in a particular quarterly update, any ideas or suggestions and guidance on how a client can truly assess, well, what's important to me and what should I be looking at to implement from one particular quarterly update?
No, that's a great question. The biggest thing I would say is if there's a change that needs to happen. So sometimes Oracle will release things that you don't really have an option of whether or not you need to jump ship and kind of make a change to your configuration or to the look or feel of your environment. Oracle is upgrading and is changing and you need to make those changes. So the key is to really take a look at what steps do I need to take. They'll give you kind of an instruction of you need to change maybe a profile option or a configuration checkbox. And you can take a look at those. Those are the ones you need to do. For the things where you see there's a new feature and maybe it's exciting and it's in scope for our project and it's something that we would like to try, the steps that we kind of take to say, okay, should we do this? How should it be tested? And who's going to be adding that in are really kind of the biggest things that we think about. So if a new feature requires a security change and a configuration team, then I also need the configuration team and the IT or maybe an HRIS team to come in and take a look and say, okay, if this new feature is updated, what's the risk here? If we make a change to these things, will the security that we have, can that cover the change that's happening? And also, is the actual change that's happening worth the effort that it takes to add it in? So there's a lot of different kind of factors that go into it, which I can explain more in detail.
No, I think that's well said. If step one is just understanding what the changes are, step two is really addressing the impact, both in terms of effort to enable it. Is it mandatory? Is it not? Is there a change management consideration? How are we going to test this? So much other planning and strategy has to go into just one particular feature as part of every quarterly update. I think you covered that really well. Christina, I appreciate your time today. Look forward to chatting again soon. And I hope everyone out there will join us for our next episode in the series. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
We hope this session helped you see through the clouds. See you next week.